You are a creative person and you'd like to make a living in a particular creative field. So how do you break in? Greetings everyone, welcome to the underground lair where we bring our creations to life. I'm Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. I'm a professional illustrator, designer, and mad creator, and I've been fortunate enough to make that my primary income for pretty much, most of my life as a working professional, which is awesome. So, and I put a lot of content out here on YouTube, and there's other people that definitely want to do the same thing. They're creative, but they want to know, how can I take these creative skills that I have and apply them in some way that can, that I can actually make a career out of it. So I received an email, and I get a few emails from time to time, and I do my best to try to respond to them and everything. So the email kind of goes like this, and I'm not going to name any names or anything, but anyway, the email goes like this. I am a 29-year-old man looking to get into the entertainment industry. I've watched your videos on Pitch Bible several times and was wondering if you had any tips on how a person can get their foot in the door. So I'm not necessarily in the entertainment industry. I've kind of dabbled a little bit here and there. When I did the video on Pitch Bibles a long time ago, I did create a children's show, and through several events was able to turn that into, we ended up shooting a pilot, and it got optioned by a studio, and from that led into some other areas. I guess I've worked with entertainment companies and things like that. I guess primarily I consider myself more of a comic book artist, but there's a lot of parallels as far as artists wanting to break into the comic industry compared to like breaking into Hollywood or the entertainment industry as a whole. So I think I can kind of speak to that. So there is this old adage in the comic book industry that once somebody breaks in, that door is boarded up, and it's, they put bricks, they, slap some concrete in front of it, whatever they can, so no one else can break in the same way. And I imagine, and there is some truth to that, and I imagine that the entertainment industry is pretty much the same way. That once somebody finds a way in, because everyone else would kind of, if there was one particular way to go in, everyone would kind of follow that same way. And really, there is no way there's not one bit of advice you can tell somebody, oh, this is how you get in. Take these steps and you will be in the entertainment industry, you will be in the comic industry. It just doesn't work like that. Fortunately, there are things you can do to, better your chances and make that more of a realistic possibility for you. So because this email was focused more on the entertainment industry, I'll kind of talk about how I got to the point where we did get that show option and all that kind of stuff. And if you're interested, I in my last video, I kind of went through my whole work history and talked about how I started off and my whole art journey, hoping that could help other people kind of knowing how that all works and everything. And again, that's gonna be different for everyone. But for me, it was basically, we started this project. We wanted to create this children's show. We wanted to create a role model for kids. It was educational and everything, and we went through several different iterations, a lot of trial and error, testing things out and everything. And in doing so, we learned along the way. And once we learned enough that we figured out how to kind of put together a decent production, we ended up shooting a pilot. And part of that was, finding out locally, just in Arizona, where I'm based. I'm not a Hollywood guy. I didn't grow up, in California or anything, or in LA or any of that stuff. So at the time, there was a little more of a film industry in Arizona, particularly Phoenix. At the time, there was, the Chamber of Commerce or whatever was actively trying to get people coming in to film stuff, and eventually that whole effort was kind of fell apart. So there was a little different, and there was animation studios at that time. Fox Animation was in Arizona, so there was something going on. So with that, with having some production companies in town and everything, we just met with people, and we learned, and like I said, there was some trial and error. But in trying these things out and meeting with different people, with different production companies, we got to know people. And you've probably heard this before, but as far as Hollywood and all that, it's who you know. And really, that's not too far from the truth. It is who you know. But the thing is, you don't have to know a super big name, because even anyone you know has connections that could lead to something else. Somebody who may be in a better position. And it's kind of like that 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. There's really a lot of truth to that, because even me, who is not, like I said, I am not in the entertainment industry, but you could probably take any movie star, anyone like that, and within 6 people, I could probably connect myself to them just based on the few people that I know that are kind of sort of in an entertainment industry or whatever. So if I can do that, I mean, it just shows that within 6 people, there's so much as far as like who you know, and it doesn't have to be a big name or whatever like that. So, the first thing is really who you know, and I'll talk a little bit about the best way to kind of get to know people as I go on. The other thing is luck. I mean, there's no doubt about it. A lot of it has to do with luck. It has to do with being in the right place at the right time. But here's the thing. You can increase your odds by putting yourself out there. If you are just waiting for somebody to discover you or whatever, chances are you are not going to get discovered. You have to be out there. You have to be sharing your work, whether that's online or just meeting with people, networking with people, and that's what is going to, the more you can do that, the more you put yourself out there in a position where you're likely to be discovered, the better chance you'll be lucky enough to be discovered. So when people say it's all luck, that is true. However, you can increase your odds and increase your luck by, again, just being proactive and being out there. Now, if you ask the question, okay, well, we know it's who you know, it's luck. So how do you get to know people and everything? How do you get to meet the people that may be in a position that could, further your career or kind of give you that edge to break into the business? And all of that is really, all it boils down to is be somebody that people like, be somebody that people want to work with. Because I can tell you, I've been in a position where I've hired people and I've worked with people on particular projects, and you can tell right away I can tell right away whether I'm going to work with that person again. And a lot of it is this person hard to work with, or do I like working with them? I did a comic book project a while back, and I hired a colorist and did great work. I mean, amazing coloring. And the problem was he wasn't very communicative. He didn't really deliver stuff on time, and that's a big thing. We'll talk more about professionalism, but I just didn't really connect with that person. So, the next time around I looked for somebody different. And whereas the artist on that project, I really loved working with that particular artist. So we hired her again. So you've got to be somebody that somebody wants to work with, that they enjoy. And it's just being a decent human being. It's being, it helps to be clever and funny and all that stuff, but just be likable. It's not that hard to be a likable person. Don't be somebody that's always down on everything, always negative and everything. Be positive and everything, and you will get a lot further. So, like I said, be professional. Don't blow your chance. Sometimes you only get one chance to make a first impression, so don't blow it. Case in point, like with this particular email, and I get a lot of emails, and I try to answer them as best I can and everything like that. And honestly, of the majority of the emails that I get, maybe 10% of them will actually write back and thank you for that. Now, and this one was kind of one of those where, I responded, and maybe I didn't give them that secret, that, there's a secret handshake you have to do, and then you're in the business, and here's what it is. Maybe they didn't like the answer or whatever, or they didn't feel the information was valuable. And I never really got a thank you. Now there are certain cases, and I've been in situations where I'm waiting to hear back from somebody, and I put something out there, I give them some information, I don't hear back, and then much later they contact me and they're in a hospital or something like that. So I don't know this particular person's situation, but if it was just a point where this person didn't think it justified a thank you, which is so easy to do. I mean, and again, that's a big part of, being somebody who people like to work with, being professional. It's not that hard to just say, hey, I really appreciate that, thank you. That's all. And I mean, that goes such a long way. So if I was to say, just based on what little I know about this person, if I was going to ask, did this person have a chance to get in? I would say maybe judging on what little I know, and I know very little about this minor interaction I've had, but the fact that they didn't respond with a thank you says maybe maybe they're going to have trouble because that's easy things like that you can do. If you're not willing to do that, then you're going to have a harder time trying to break into that business or whatever the case is. So in summary, here are the things. The first one is, be lucky. And again, you can make your own luck. Put yourself in the right position and everything like that. Be likable. Be somebody that somebody wants to work with. Be professional. Follow up with people. Communicate with people. And just be proactive. Put yourself out there. If you're an artist, get a portfolio. Put your work out there so people can see it. I can't tell you how many times that I'm looking for an artist and they don't have a website or any kind of web presence, and I'm like, well, how do I know? Or sometimes contact information. You can't even find a contact information for someone. How are you going to hire somebody if you don't even know how to get in touch with them? So, you gotta be professional. So, again, put yourself out there. Let people know what you do and that you do it well, and that you're easy to work with, and they'll find out if you're a likable person, they'll want to work with you again, and just improve your odds. Be lucky by being in the right place at the right time, and you can do that by being in more places. So really, that's the best I can do as far as how to break into entertainment industry, comic book business, that type of thing, because there really is no one way. There's no magic, like I said, no magic handshake or anything like that just brings you in. It really is knowing people and getting out there, and a lot of that. And I'm an introvert, so I struggle with this, but that's something that as an introvert you get to work on, and you can get better, and you get to find ways that it's still comfortable for you, but still allows you to sort of be out there and be in the right place at the right time. And even being an introvert, it doesn't mean you have to be negative or boring you can be somebody that people enjoy working with. So there you go. Those are, for better or worse, those are the tips I have for breaking into whatever entertainment industry you want to get into. But tell me, what are your guys' experience with getting into whatever? If you are a working professional, how did you kind of break in, or are you still working on it? And what is working for you, and what isn't working for you? And if it's not working, maybe some of these things might be things that you implement. So anyway, thanks for watching. I will talk to you guys later. That is all. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Also, you can follow me at Serkworks on social media, and now you can support the work that I do on Patreon. Do you like making comics? Then go to Serkworks.com and pick up the Comic Maker Starter Kit. It's packed full of fonts, brushes, templates, and more. And best of all, it's totally free.